Hi, this is Bob Samuels, founder of TechConnectr. TechConnectr is a marketplace and campaign management platform of best-of-breed account-based marketing lead generation solutions. We've partnered with the Serious Decisions Summit to bring you wisdom from leading account-based marketing thought leaders. To that end, I'm happy to introduce you to Jenn Steele, CMO of Madison Logic. Jenn is a special kind of marketer. She's an excellent creative designer and strategist, and she's also a data person. She readily admits that she likes big data and cannot lie. Jenn, it's a pleasure to speak with you today. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, excellent. It's a beautiful day here in California. And I know you're going to be on a bunch of trips, so I appreciate your squeezing us in for this interview and to share your wisdom on ABM.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So to start, if you can give a little bit of background, you have an interesting background both as a practitioner and as a solution provider. It'd be good to hear that about ABM in particular.
Okay, so marketing is my second career. I used to run IT departments at law firms, which is a story I often share, but only over a beer or a glass of scotch usually. And I started my marketing career at HubSpot about a decade ago. So marketing to marketers is something that I basically first learned when I got my feet wet in marketing itself. And then from HubSpot to Amazon to startups. And it was at one of those startups that my director of inside sales and I took a look at each other and went, we're trying to sell to enterprise. How do we do this? And we started doing some research. And this is back in about 2015. So we started doing some research and we discovered this thing called ABM. And that's when, basically I rolled up my sleeves and I got involved and we rolled out ABM. And amusingly, that's also when I made my first giant error of forgetting to tell demand gen to stop measuring themselves by net new leads. But that's, again, a story for another day. So from that company, I went to Visible, which was an entirely ABM shop. And ABM just made sense, of course, coming to Madison Logic, having the background that I did. Of course, despite my background, I'm really somewhat irreverent when it comes to ABM itself, because I have been known to call it sales, but now with a digital component.
Excellent. So it's just a new 3-letter acronym, but it's like you said, it's targeted accounting. It's targeted accounts. It's
exactly.
Account.
Yeah. So I know that you, Bob, you have a history with Madison Logic. You've known us for a while, and we did, basically target account marketing before ABM was a thing, right? And so it was really interesting because, what we called it versus what ITSMA called it, and then we adopted their terminology.
That's interesting. Yeah, Madison goes back, and it's an impressive legacy for sure. So when I think of ABM, there's a lot of different components. I mean, there's to me, one of the most compelling things is that it's a nice rallying call for sales and marketing to link up and onto very common goals and focus.
Absolutely. And what's amusing to me always is that I didn't realize that sales and marketing had a historic schism, because when I started at HubSpot, we called it smarketing. And sales and marketing had the meetings together and were held to exactly the same goals. And that's actually something that I've been bringing into every organization, if it hasn't been here already, is simply saying, forget marketing goals. All I really care about are sales goals. How many leads do they need? But then, of course, as we've gotten further down the funnel, driving that, how do we drive pipeline? How do we drive revenue? And the moment you start talking to sales about what affects their paychecks, suddenly they rely a lot more on you, and they start getting along with you, and they start asking you for things. Whereas before, you might have been operating in a bit of a silo and trying to shove something down their throats.
That's amazing. So, isn't that nice? Where I think dollars and strong pipeline is appealing to everybody, and getting not just leads, but as you're talking about, getting the right leads, the ones that are going to be most highly valued. And,
absolutely.
The highest probability
I used to make a somewhat irreverent joke about people who were just trying to drive traffic in order to drive leads. And that's like, I can get you all the traffic in the book. Absolutely. I just have to post a somewhat risque video on your website, but that's not going to be traffic that helps your company at all. It's the
Exactly.
same for
Just like
leads.
yeah, you can tell same with at the events and the booths that are run by the marketers that their goal is to get most number of people to sign up, not the right people, but maybe people that like T-shirts or like T-shirts or whatever, but not really true prospects or high value.
Exactly. Although I do have to
Yeah.
confess that my marketing team does spend time trying to get fun swag, but we like to be thematic as well. So for example, when we launched Journey Acceleration, we had little race car USB drives.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Very cute. I think it's good. I like a little swag myself. So, and then getting into ABM, there's several components, and I love your background with HubSpot and Visible too. You know, you're getting into all, you know, there's the messaging component, the personalization of the messaging. There's the measuring and learning from every campaign. There's the account identification and prioritization of the people to go after. There's the outreach and outreach channels and so forth. Lots of different components, and they're all worth talking about. So, what are some of the maybe if you come across any examples of some strong ABM campaigns, either that you did for yourself as a marketer, or that you were involved with some of your clients?
So I love this question because I'm pretty much obsessed with clients. And in fact, the best ABM practitioner I knew, I hired into Madison Logic from one of our clients.
Hmm.
But I will say that we have a customer doing a case study for us at the upcoming, at least upcoming when we're recording this, the upcoming Serious Decision Summit. SailPoint is talking about doing very data-driven ABM and how their head of demand gen came in and basically revamped how they were using data from multiple sources, not just Madison Logic, but from multiple sources to align sales and marketing, tier out their accounts, and then actually do really cool things with their tactics, um, where they basically almost tiered out their tactics. So it's like, oh, we're trying to drive awareness, so let's use display advertising here before we invest more in doing content syndication and lead generation efforts from that group of accounts, right? As opposed to hitting everybody in every channel with everything at the same time, they use data to really drive what they were doing to most efficiently spend their marketing dollars. And I love that story. I think they're fantastic, and I'm really excited about their presenting it, obviously.
I'll look forward to hearing the story firsthand. That's serious. I look forward to going. I think it's wonderful. So, any other fun stories?
Well, I mean, I think that as marketers now we're trying to one up each other on direct mail. So,
Mm.
and we've got friends as Madison Logic, and actually just as myself, I've got friends at PFL and Sendoso, and actually at Visible there was one BDR we had who did this brilliant job of using Sendoso to send a customized gift based on what he was seeing, and then writing a pun-filled note to go with it that somehow related what Visible does in multi-touch marketing attribution to their hobby. So I saw examples of tea, fishing, like with a set of lures, like woodworking, all sorts of crazy things. And it worked. It absolutely worked. It was, granted, very, very, very high touch. But I have to say that, when I see something like that that's extraordinarily well done and isn't just yet another Starbucks gift card or yet another Amazon gift card, it knocks my socks off. Oh, and by the way, I don't like the socks thing either, that everybody is sending this. That's neither here nor there.
That the fishing stuff is that's really cute.
I mean, it was spectacular. It's, quite frankly, as a marketer, it's inspiring, because then when I look at these accounts, because we have our top tier accounts, our top 25 or whatnot, it's almost like, is there anybody that we should spend, that 30 minutes of time doing something that custom to get their attention, right?
So
Because it
so
works.
I've always thought there's two different kinds of marketers in the world. There's the numbers kind, and the making things everything creative and pretty and such. Which kind are you?
So
The numbers and
I
the
always,
analytics and the optimization, that sort of thing.
so it's interesting because I actually consider there to be um, more than two kinds of marketers, because there's the people who are trying to make things pretty, but then there's the people who are really working on the messaging, right? And I always call myself a recovering product marketer, and the first. So I'm really obsessed with messaging, and getting just the right. I kind of believe that you can speak to somebody's soul if you can really know who they are, and it's your job in product marketing to really do that in a one-to-many way as much as you can. But the first line of my LinkedIn bio is I like big data and I cannot lie. So that's where I might take issue with it. However, I also have the design sensibilities of a snail. And I'm colorblind. So I'm definitely not a make things completely pretty. I will make them make sense, but that's about all.
Makes sense is good. If it makes sense, it's pretty. I like it. So you're really you're a combination of, and like you said, of creative too. The messaging.
Yes, yes. It's so funny. Well, and maybe this explains the dichotomy. I have a degree from MIT in science, but my minor was in expository writing, back before there was such a thing as blogging. And I've always joked that who knew that I would make a career out of my minor and not my major.
Wow, I love your background. That's fun, and so you get to practice it every day.
Or at least when I have time to write. It's always funny when my team delegates up to me, and my PR firm has had to adjust to the fact that they send me an outline and not a complete not a complete article, because I can't stand other people's writing in my voice or trying to.
Oh my. So the case study sounds great. Serious decisions. I also understand you're going to be making an announcement while you're there.
We are. I can't give you the details, but we're very excited about our second major launch of this year. And there will be several executives who at Serious Decisions who will be more than happy to talk to people then once we've released it. We've embargoed this one.
Wonderful. I look forward to it. It's exciting. So where do you see things heading? If you've been around ABM, like you said before, it was ABM. What do you see the changes occurring? How does next year look like? How does 5 years look like? Are we still going to have ABM? Are we going to be perfect at it? What's it going to look like?
When have marketers been perfect at anything? So where ABM is now is that it was kind of funny at the Topo Summit executive track. We went around and there were like four of us who were like, I'm from company X. We're an ABM platform. And the funniest thing is that no two of us did the same thing. And in fact, some of us were customers of each other, et cetera. And fundamentally, what's happening in ABM right now is we have a ton of ABM quote unquote platforms, including our own at Madison Logic. We have a ton of these platforms and no two have the same features, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's really easy for me to differentiate, right? I can say, okay, you're comparing us and company X. Well, if you need X and Y, it's Madison Logic, but if you need Y and Z, it's company X, right?
Right.
Right. And if you contrast that with marketing automation, which of course is where I started my MarTech career 10 years ago, granted, the major players have kind of carved up the market into segments, and that's fine, but they have approximately comparable features and people use them to do the same basic things for marketing automation. ABM's nowhere near there. So if you look at where ABM is now, it's probably close to where marketing automation was, about 9 years ago. And so what remains to be seen is which features become the game changers and which ones become the table stakes, because we're not there yet.
Right.
Or of course the ABM industry could surprise me and actually form a nice little spider web of a lot of interdependent applications. That doesn't tend to be what happens, simply because nobody has the MarTech budget for 12 different apps as a standard. So
Right.
what I think is going to happen is that you'll eventually see the ABM vendors like Madison Logic start kind of carving into segments, much like HubSpot and Marketo and Eloqua did 8 or 9 years ago, and developing feature sets for those segments. And by the time we hit 2025, I think that it'll be a lot more easily understood, and that there will be at least better understood vital features with what ABM actually is. But I think by 2025, because we're also moving a lot faster than we were 10 years ago, ABM will simply be a tactic in the arsenal, much like inbound marketing is now, rather than the big new strategy that everyone will be doing. There will be something else, whatever that is.
It'll be a baked-in element of whatever it is.
Right.
And when you say you would be looking at targeting different segments, how would you define a segment?
So when I'm thinking about marketing automation, I'm thinking about, how Eloqua kind of dominated the enterprise, and Marketo the mid-market, and HubSpot SMB. And, HubSpot started dominating SMB even more, right, as time went by. Marketo, of course, has gone up into the enterprise a bit more, but we still have those same basic, striations of the major platforms.
So segmentation by company size more than by industry or geography or use case.
Although geography, obviously, there's GDPR that's causing us to segment out a bit there. Use case, and see, this is where I actually think that, and I could be totally wrong. You can call me up in 2025 and laugh at me, but I actually think we're going to agree on a basic set of use cases as opposed to segment out by them.
Yeah, well, stay tuned. So it sounds like, like you said, the ABM is a very fuzzy term. Everybody's ABM. It sounds a lot like big data. Everybody was big data 5 years ago.
Right.
It'll flush its way out, and there's probably what I've heard is there's probably going to be some consolidation somewhere along the way. I guess there already is on the data side and on some of the lead gen side.
I mean, there's over 7,000 companies in the Martech 5,000, which is a hilarious thing on its own,
and growing.
Well, it's interesting because Topo has predicted that we're going to start seeing consolidation in 2019. And Visible got acquired by Marketo, which got acquired by Adobe. So of course I've experienced my own consolidation very, very up close and personal. So it remains to be seen exactly what'll happen.
Yeah, and then I just thinking on the data side with Zoom Info and Rainmaker acquired by Discover.org, that sort of thing. So
absolutely.
So it's exciting though, and so I appreciate your share. Is there anything else that I missed or we should talk about? Otherwise, I look forward to seeing it at Sirius.
I don't think there's anything you missed. I look forward to seeing you at Sirius Decisions as well, and hopefully other people swing by and find out what it is we're launching.
All right. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.